That was
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
That was the plan, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh.
Ooh. Yes, we're ready for Cam. Go ahead and hit it when you're ready, buddy. All right. We're here with the pre.
I've been preing.
Yeah, but now we're officially preing. Oh. It went away.
It's back.
Is it? Because I'm still seeing the lost codex.
You just gotta reset. Refresh.
Okay, I'm refreshing. Alright.
My hair hates me. Oh. That looks stupid. You fucking stupid. It's like, I don't. Nobody tells you how to do your hair around giant headphones.
The thing is, my parents didn't prepare me for.
They're fired.
This is gonna be embarrassing. This is gonna be an embarrassing episode.
I mean, yeah, probably. But like, all of them are pretty embarrassing, so.
Not always. Sometimes I'm more comfortable talking about these things, but the people who have okay, little man, little dog. Now go away.
Go ahead. I give up. Fuck it.
What's the problem?
I don't know. There's no problem. There's no problem. Everything's
Good.
fucking
All right.
fine.
Good,
It's all
because it's time.
fucking. You know what? Fuck it.
Fucking.
Fucking. Fuck it. I had a week, okay? Let me tell you. And this hair has been in my face all week. I just like sprouted it a couple days ago or something.
With the chop.
I don't know where it came from. I asked my mom about it. She's like, "Oh, it's a baby hair." And I'm like, "I'm a fucking grown-ass woman, Mom. Make it go away."
Did she? Or can she?
I was making a joke about me being a baby.
Oh.
You didn't get
Okay.
it. It's fine. What are you wearing? Oh, okay, I get it. It looks purple to me in the camera. I was like, "Where'd you get a purple sweater? I want one." Fuck you.
Must be the light. 'Tis gray.
Ow.
Hello, chat. Did you just hit yourself on the mic?
No.
Okay.
We're bringing back fidget spinners.
What are you
Ow. Darren!
Oh shit, we're 61. This is the 61st episode. Alright. Let's do this. You ready to go? Like for real? Go? Like
Wait,
launch?
I'm doing a trick!
All you need is for that thing to like take out one of your eyes before the fucking stream.
Look at my geographic tongue. Uh-huh.
I think you're gonna
You can't see it? This
Yeah,
could
I
be
think you're
just
gonna
the whole show.
close
This
there.
doing
Yeah.
weird shit on camera.
Balls! Hello
Balls!
and welcome. Everybody just says balls when they come in.
I've got these squishies, right?
I love it.
And like they look like tits.
They do.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
And this one also looks like ass.
That one's the best one. It's like the most versatile. It can do it all.
That's all you need is tits and ass. Also a cake.
Well, we always need our TNA. Thanks, Techie. All right. You ready to start the show?
Oh yeah.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Did
that work?
Do you want? Okay, we're gonna go to Slash. we're going to the title page. It totally worked. Good job, Techie. Man, unspoken cues. This guy's on point. Hello.
Are we back?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Soren. Hi.
My name's Fist. Oh, what is up?
Smash that like button. Welcome everybody.
Smash it.
To the Friday nights with Fist and Thorn. This Friday night stream. It's the stream number 61. Tonight we're talking about childhood bullies.
We're
Welcome,
so
Fist.
close to stream 69, which will
sure
be
are.
the best episode of Friday Nights with This and Thorn ever.
We're gonna have to do something special for that.
We're gonna have to do something real special. I don't know what, but it's gonna be special. I don't know. Hopefully we don't get banned from Twitch on that day.
Yeah. I think if we do get banned from Twitch on that day, I think that would be a successful stream. And a hell of
we had a good
hell of
run.
a story, right?
Yeah, we had a good run. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we only did this to get to episode 69 so we could get booted off of Twitch. Now we don't have to do it anymore. That's our legacy. That's what we're leaving behind.
Show ends at 69. That would be very
That's it.
apropos.
Yes, it would be. It absolutely would be.
Join us 8 weeks from now for the 69th and final episode, everyone.
It'll be a doozy. Hello, everybody. So we have changed the name of the LBS to Friday Nights with This and Thorn, the stream, because LBS and LB were way too similar. So this is not Lagging Balls. This is not our podcast. Our podcast is audio only. This is just us hanging out. And tonight we have decided to talk about childhood bullies because we all got them or had them.
Yeah.
And it's fun to rag on them now because hopefully they don't matter as much anymore. But Foist, I need to recognize that it is the 25th anniversary of Alice in Chains' Jar of Flies.
Ooh.
It's a good album. Check it out. You could listen to it while you're watching us, maybe.
Well,
or not.
We have
It's,
music going.
Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do.
Not that, so that we don't get copyright smashed.
Oh.
But you should listen to it after the show, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, go play some video games after, chill the fuck out, listen to an amazing album.
Preferably Blizzard games.
Yeah. Indeed. So, Fist, how's it going? You alright? How you doing?
Oh, it's been a fucking week, dude.
You alright?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. We made it, right? We made it to the end of the week.
We did.
We did it. It's over.
I had a hell of a week too. I'm not even going to complain about it. It was horrible. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we're here. Chat, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're so glad that you guys are all here. You bless us.
Yes.
Oh. Sorry, I was just watching a Jet Li movie, so
Oh, that's cool.
now I feel like I'm like a kung fu master.
You're not. Like,
No,
you're
Not even
absolutely
close.
not. Like, not even close. I did 40 minutes of jujitsu with my friend Will a couple weeks ago. That makes me way more qualified as a fighter than you.
Okay.
So,
Well then.
so let's just get into it. Let's just get into it.
Yes,
So,
let's.
would you like to tell your saga first, or shall I?
I'm not going to tell the whole saga, but I can start with one piece of it.
All right.
I have mine in order of growing up. So I'll begin with second grade. I had a second grade bully. My parents were military, so we moved all over the place. At this point, I was living in Los Alamitos, California.
Los
And
Alamitos.
yeah, and I went to a really nice school, actually. I remember it fondly. My favorite teacher as a child was the very next year after this. I won't tell you her name because I still use her name as part of like some of my passwords to this day because I still remember her fondly. But in second grade, there was a certain little piece of shit asshole guy, a budding dickhead.
Ew.
Who
a budding dickhead?
A blossoming.
I'm just trying to think.
Blossoming dick.
Like a star-nosed mole? You know those
like
moles
if you're
that
not
have,
cut?
I mean, or if you're cut up, like, you know, like one of those like fancy spiral hot dogs, or like you like slice the end of the hot dog, and then when you put it in the microwave, it goes like this.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's what I'm thinking about. So that's pretty gross.
Yeah, he was a piece of shit asshole. Well, I mean, look, I was in second grade, so I didn't have very many. I couldn't even tell you this kid's name. We didn't hang out. He was like a couple of years ahead of me or whatever. So it was one of those kinds of schools that had grade school through middle school, and then there was like a big fence, and then on the other side of the fence were the sports fields of the high school, which was right next door. So it was that kind of setup. On our side of the fence, there were all these like recreational field areas outside for recesses and things like that. Foursquare was really big for that place, and that was kind of a funny thing because wherever I moved, the different things were, the thing that was big was different. It was tetherball one place, it was Foursquare another, etc.
I thought you were talking about the app. I was like, how old are you?
No, I did use Foursquare back in the day though. Used to be good. But right next to the Foursquare courts were the sandboxes, and for whatever reason, in second grade, the hot commodity were these yellow shovels, a little handheld shovel. Because it's second grade, you're a little kid, right? So whatever. And the shovels were just a big deal, and everybody wanted them, but there were only a few of them, so you had to sign them out. And like once you signed them out, obviously, of the 5 or whatever there were, then there were no more for anybody else. So since they were so sought after, one day I'm playing in the fucking sandbox, and this kid comes up, and he grabs me from behind, puts his arm under my neck, and his knee in my back, and like chokes me from behind, and like out of nowhere, like it just came out of absolutely nowhere. I had not even like had dealings with this kid. I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you his name, honestly. So he's like, drop the shovel, and I throw it down because I'm like freaking out, like, you know, you don't expect this sort of thing, and so I throw it down, and then he throws me down, and like he and 2 other friends are there, and he picks up the shovel and he's like, learn karate, dumbass, or something like that. And then they laugh and walk away with the shovel.
Learn karate, so dumbass.
He got the shovel because he knew karate and I didn't, I guess.
Sorry. Actually,
I should have taken my 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's actually your fault. That you didn't know any martial art back then. You were just asking for it.
Step back, Daniel-san. You know, just flip him for real.
Yes. Yeah, but absolutely. No,
instead, I went and told an adult.
Did you cry?
I don't remember crying.
I
don't think that's a guarantee that I didn't, but I don't remember crying. But we got parents involved and all that sort of thing, so it wasn't good news for him.
Whoa, that's when you know shit has gone down when the parents get involved.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of my situations aren't necessarily like as vivid as I would want them to be because, again, we moved around so much that it's not like I grew up with the same group of people, kind of like you did. So like I don't have a long-standing relationship with any one bully. I have, issues with someone for a couple of years and then I move somewhere else. So
sure. Yeah.
So that's the first one that I remember. What do you got?
Well, mine's kind of long.
Go for it.
Okay. So I grew up in a small town in Ontario, Canada. And I was in the same elementary school for 10 years. So that's
nice.
Kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and grades 1 through 8. So my class was the same bunch of kids, give or take a couple every year. But it was always basically the same. And
sure.
For 10 years. And
always in the same classes too? Or did you guys have like split?
We were split up like once or twice.
Okay.
And it changed over. It probably changed over the most. I forget which grade. In Canada, we have something called French immersion, and it's only at some schools. Parents can choose to put their kids in French immersion, so that like I think exactly half of their lessons are in French and some are in English. So it just gives kids a really great foundation to be bilingual.
Okay.
I was not put in that, which is why I don't know a lot of French, but a lot of kids went to a different school to get French immersion. But that happened way late. So basically, for 10 years, it was the same bunch of kids. And as far as the girls in the class, there was my group, which was, miscellaneous girls. And then there was the cool girls group, which was always sort of commanded, if you will, by these two girls. Their names were Paige and Shyla. And it's funny, like, okay, and they're both like, I'm not trying to generalize or stereotype or anything like that, but they were both blonde and skinny, and like they usually had tans somehow, like, and it was just, and they were like rich and cool, and it was just, but they were genuinely mean girls. Very, very mean girls. So it's funny to say Paige and Shyla, because Paige and Shyla, for 10 years and beyond, they were just like the source of so much misery and frustration and anger. And I don't know, just like saying their name like that out loud is just like super iconic and like in my life and like such a throwback. And like everybody I grew up with like knows about Paige and Shyla because they were just so notoriously evil. Sure.
Sorry.
Oh God. So anyway, Paige and Shyla, the thing about it was like a lot of the girls in my group would, spend some time over with the cool girls occasionally, and then they'd come back or they'd never come back or, whatever. And my group was always accepting just, whoever. And like, we had guys in our group too. And just like the art nerds. I mean, this is very like Mean Girls, but it was the art nerds, the music nerds, like the weird kids. And we were all just happy. And they would just like make fun of us. Mercilessly. Sure. Exactly. So for 10 years, they were just really, really mean. And at one point,
Jesus,
I remember, and the thing was like, they never really bothered me personally. Like I was never their target, thankfully. I don't know why.
Never? That seems unlikely.
Almost never. And I don't know why. I don't know why. And they had plenty to make fun of me for. I was not an attractive kid. I had, as I got older, I got a lot of acne on my face. I was the only kid in class for 10 years who was like chubby. So, there was that kind of, they could have made fun of me, and I'm sure they did behind my back, but
probably just behind my back, yeah.
Sure. But they would like maliciously go after other girls, sometimes, physically, even like pushing people and stuff like that. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, so it just happened that way. So in my town, there was two high schools. There was the sort of Catholic high school, and then the public high school. And a lot of us broke off. But Paige and Shiloh both went to my school, unfortunately. And that's when they got like meaner and nastier.
When? At what point?
During high school, but also like they had way more people to bully, and it seemed like they were more concerned with like going away from school and like not showing up to class and stuff. And it became clear, it became clear to a lot of us that they did not have like a good home life. Like the shit going on at home was not good for either of them, which explains a lot, like it sucks because when you've got bullies, have, like,
not a regular mom, but like a cool mom.
Yes, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But anyway, it sucks because like you're a kid and you're getting bullied by these jerks and they're just being mean to you for no reason. But as you get older, you kind of feel bad for them because they're just acting out because they had a shitty home life. But at the same time, it's like, I don't feel fucking that bad because holy shit.
Because they were terrors toward everybody.
So do you want me to keep going? Because it's the longest story. All right.
No,
so
you can't stop now. We haven't even gotten to the bullying part.
It was interesting because it was like this weird sort of like osmosis type thing that all of the mean girls from all of the schools, all of the elementary schools that came to high school kind of came together in this giant conglomerate of terribleness. Well, so there's this show at the time, this like cartoon show. I forget what it was called, but there was all these clones of girls with blonde hair, and they were really mean, and they were called Debbies. So we started calling them the Debbies. They actually found out about that, and they tried to adopt it, but it didn't work. So anyway,
it's cool. We're taking it back.
So there's two girls in particular who really just did not like me, and they tried really, really hard to make me feel like shit, but I genuinely didn't care in high school at all. The only thing I cared about in high school was playing video games, eating chips, and playing in my cool band. And that's it. I didn't give two shits. I remember at fucking prom, one of them like stood on my dress and ripped it. But like, I was wearing like a goth dress, and it had like crinoline on the outside, and it was all ripped up anyway. So she like stepped on it and ripped. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And like when I was in high school, I always wore like these like really elaborate punk outfits, and they were just covered in safety pins. So they do shit like, hey, do you have a safety pin? And I'd be like, yeah, I do actually.
Hey, Fist, do you have a safety pin? Yeah, here. Do you need one? Because I got a spare. Here you go.
Right. I remember I dyed my hair pink. Back then it wasn't like a thing like it is now.
Yeah.
So I was the only one at my school with like altered colored hair, and one of them comes up to me and goes like, hey, Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm like, do you even fucking know who that is? Like, but just shit like that. And I remember, I don't know. I don't understand why I wasn't a bigger target. They definitely like maybe.
Sounds like they were afraid of you.
Maybe they were. I'm not sure. I had this reputation in high school. Apparently, everybody's parents thought that I was a problem kid. Even some people in my extended family thought that I was on drugs. They thought that I was like a Satan worshiper or something. But literally, I was straight edge because I was fucking scared to fuck of drugs and alcohol. And all I did with my time, besides going to school, was going home, playing World of Warcraft and playing on my bass and going to sleep and eating a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches. So
nice.
I don't know.
Chat's like plot twist. This was the bully.
Yeah, maybe I was, but I was. Oh my god! Like was I? No, I don't think so. Because like I don't like confrontation. It freaks me out. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe my bully stories aren't so great. But listen to this. So Paige and Shyla, still wreaking havoc all over the place, being really mean to my friends. And when they were mean to my friends, like that really got my back up. Like that pissed me off. I remember one time Paige and Shyla and the rest of the Debbie stole my friend's notebook, and they found a particularly scathing passage about all of them because they had been mean to her. So she wrote about it in her diary.
A burn book?
No, but they took her diary and they tried to bring it to the teacher, and the teacher's like, where did you get this? Like, you're not supposed to be reading this and shit. Remember one time I was like doing my friend's hair in spikes in the cafetorium. It was an auditorium and a cafeteria. It's like both cafetorium.
Good name.
Yeah, so he asked me to like do his hair, and so I was like twisting it into these little spikes and stuff because we were all so punk. And Paige and Shallow started throwing like tortilla chips into his hair, and I was just like flicking them back out at them, like just stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
So this all continued and continued and continued. After graduation.
Sorry, but you said they did like physical bullying of other people though.
In elementary school. I don't know if that continued in high school. I didn't hear about any of it. I wasn't a part of it. But so this is interesting. So I after high school, I went to college. Then I moved to Europe for a little bit. And then I came back, and then a little while after that, I moved to the States. And I don't spend a lot of time with my, hometown friends, obviously, because I don't live there anymore. I don't visit very often just because I don't have time. I can't really do that. And
sure.
I hardly have any friends from back home. So I don't often hear about things, just about my classmates or anything like that. And sure, when you get into a mood and you decide to internet stalk all the people that you used to be in school with, you have to be in the right mood for it, though. You're just like, I'm bored. I'm looking for some gossip. I want to see what the fuck's going on with all these people I used to know. And isn't it fun to scroll down a whole list of people and you're like, oh, that fucking guy. What's he doing? And then you're like, whoa, or whatever. Anyway. So, somebody, a few years ago, somebody was like, hey, did you hear about Shyla?
Uh-oh. Paige and Shyla?
Yes. And I was like, no. What happened? And they're like, dude, she burnt down a strip mall.
What?
Yeah. She and some dude burnt down a strip mall, injuring somebody in the process.
Oh, Jesus.
And and she went to, I think the dude went to straight up jail. I think she was arrested. I don't know if she went to jail though. But if I type in her full name, I can see all of it on Google. It's all there in the news and shit. And so it's interesting that, I don't know, because when you're a kid, when Paige and Shyla were getting me down as a little kid, my mom used to always say, don't let it bother you. This isn't forever. They don't matter. They're not going to, I know this sounds mean, what I'm about to say, but she'd always say something like, they're not going to amount to anything. You're going to amount to something. Your life is headed in the right direction. Theirs aren't. They're not going to amount to anything. You matter. They don't. And yes, that's mean, but she's my mom and she was protecting me. My mom, she's the same woman who gave my ex-boyfriend the finger in high school because he dumped me for a grade 9 or a minor 9 in Canada.
Oh, mom.
Oh yeah. She didn't give shit. But anyway, so she'd say things like that. And I wouldn't believe her, but it would make me feel better anybody. But yeah. So I don't know. Paige and Shyla, it really, I don't know, just dealing with mean people, mean girls in particular, so closely for 10 years. And I wish I had more examples of how they were mean and how they bullied. There was, I think the worst thing that they ever did to me was at the pool. So my elementary school was attached to the town's public pool, which was fucking sweet because that meant that we got swimming lessons every year in addition to just regular school lessons, because all we had to do was walk down the hall. All the kids in all the other elementary schools did not get that. So fuck those guys.
Did it mean that your whole school smelled like pool all the time?
No, just one end.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so what was I saying? Right. So all the girls would go into the girls' change room, obviously. And, when I was a kid, I've always been pretty thick, but I was thick, back in the day. And like I said, I was the only one in my class for 10 years who wasn't, a stick figure, which was really tough, by the way. But that's another story. But I remember getting changed and do you remember as a kid, how you felt before you realized that your body and the way you looked meant everything to people? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I remember that too. I remember how that felt. So, I was in that stage at that point, and I was getting changed with everybody else, and we were all just naked little girls. And I forget which one said it because it was a moment, but one of them turned around, looked at me, and said out loud as possible, "Ha ha, Jessica's fat." And that's it. and like, ow, like, fuck. So like, I remember just sort of covering myself with a towel and getting changed in a bathroom stall instead. And then when I went home, I was really, really upset, right?
Yeah.
And my mom's like, what happened? Like, what happened? And I couldn't even say the words. I had to write it down on a piece of paper and give it to her because I couldn't. And like, that sort of started the whole like, oh shit, there's something wrong with me type of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's the biggest example. Yeah. It was one of them. I don't remember which. But yeah, so it's just stuff like that. Like, they would just say shit like that. And they'd prey on my friends a lot. And I don't know. Oh, Michael and Holly, my cousins, moved to my town in grade 4. And despite Michael, Holly, and I being best friends, Holly went and hung out with Paige and Shyla. And they're still friends to this day. And it sucked, just because like Holly was that type of girl. She was that type of girl. I was not that type of girl. But not even, like, it was, I don't know. It was just
fit in with the popular girls.
It was different. Yeah. So that was really tough for me as well.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with bullying, but I don't know.
Well, so, that's a tough layer of it. If you're from a small town and there's only limited people, and then somebody who you value, who happens to be a family member, and you're friends with them, that's rough. That's a tough level of complication on the situation.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, maybe they laid off me because Holly was around,
Maybe.
Because like, I would never say anything shitty to her, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What a group of bitches.
Yeah.
Fuck those bitches.
It's
Seriously.
okay. Like, I know that Paige had a really tough home life, and obviously there's some issues with Shyla, and maybe there still is, but I don't know. It was a big deal back in the day, but it's not anymore, and
sure.
I don't know.
Well, we all care about you, so we all say fuck those bitches.
Thanks. But it is just a really
Chad?
weird thing to be an adult and to understand why children act out like this,
Yeah.
And then you look back on your bullies and you're just like, yeah, what they were doing was shitty to me, but holy shit, like, for them to be acting this way, there's got to be some shit going down in their house, and that sucks. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have like some of that. I have plenty of empathy for that kind of thing, but I also had a pretty rough time of things, and I didn't turn out being an asshole. I mean, arguably, I didn't turn out to be an asshole. So
Not a huge
I feel
asshole.
like not a gaping asshole, just like a.
It's not gaping. I call myself a prolapse.
Right, but all I'm getting at is like, yes, there can be a tough home life, right? Like, and I had like abuse in my home life, so I'm not talking about like, oh, I didn't get the pony I wanted. It's not some bullshit like that. I had plenty of privilege as well, so it's not like it was all bad news for me. But I had a rough time of things, and I didn't turn out to be a piece of shit. So I don't know. I only have so much empathy. Yeah. Okay. So my next story is. I'm sorry. Was that the end of it?
I think so.
The saga of Paige and Shyla.
Yeah, it seemed a lot
crony
more
bitches
interesting
in the plastics.
in my head, but
I think that was plenty interesting.
I don't know. I think I just observed more of it than any of it actually happened to me. And then the whole burning down a mall thing is pretty crazy.
And also, does that like feel a little cathartic? That like bitch got arrested and shit?
Honestly, yes. But that makes me feel like an asshole, because somebody got hurt. And
oh well, yeah, that part. Yeah.
But
you're not rooting for that part. You're just rooting for her getting a little bit of her comeuppance that she clearly very well deserves. That's all.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, you're not actively sitting there saying, "Oh, it's a good thing she burned somebody, so it made it worse." Not at all. You're sitting there saying, "It's a good thing she got arrested because she kind of deserved it." She deserved a lot worse, I'd say.
Yikes!
So, the next part of mine is from middle school, and it's little funny looking back on it now, but it's actually really embarrassing. I contemplated not putting this on here, honestly, because I was bullied by 2 girls.
Really?
Yep. It was, I lived in Queens, New York at the time. The parents were stationed at Fort Totten in Queens, New York. And I went to a public school for the first year, and then I went to a private school for the next year and a half after that. And the kids were way meaner at the private school. Way meaner.
Just like on TV.
Yeah, totally. They were totally just like rich entitled bitches. It was horrible. They were just horrible. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't even like a what up? We got some queens represent in the house. What up, chat? It wasn't even like a well, maybe they liked you kind of thing. No, they were horrible. They were super fucking mean, and just terrible, like over the top terrible. So they would just do things like kind of pick on whatever I was like doing, or pick on whatever I would say. And then of course I was like in that awkward stage where I was kind of developing. When I moved to New York, the first year that I was in 5th grade was when Yo Mama jokes was real big. And like those were really like the big thing to do. So like a sick burn on somebody was like the best thing that one kid could do to another kid, and like the way that you would be like lauded by other children. So, you know, like ways to insult somebody were like the best thing to know or whatever. And I was developing that at the time because I was not very good at it. I was not quick on my feet with like insults or clever things. So I remember at one point I couldn't tell you why the hell this word came up to me, but they were bothering me, and I said, shut up, you stooge. And they were like, oh, you stooge, which like, to be fair, is a really fucking stupid thing to say.
That's bad. What the fuck did you say that for?
I don't know. It's that stupid shit that you say in the moment that, you know, you think back on these like moments later on and you're like, I would have said this. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't.
That's like one of those shower arguments. You just like, you get in the shower and you think about what you would say and then what they would do. And you just like, sometimes I do it out loud. Not always arguments, just like what I would say to somebody if I could. And I say the whole thing out loud while I'm showering. And then you get out of the shower and you're like,
yeah. Yeah.
I'll be ready if this ever happens.
I do that. Like, I swear, like, I feel like I've seen one of those like meme pie charts where it's like, what do I do in the shower? And it's like 5% cleaning myself, 95% winning fictional arguments.
Yep.
Because I totally do that.
I do that with
thankfully, like.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, it's thankfully I feel like I don't think of these situations. Like when we brought this up as a subject, I had to like make notes for myself because I had to like conjure these back up. I don't know if maybe they're sitting back in my psyche, making me secretly crazy or have mental issues that I don't know about or something like that. But it's not something I ever think about, you know?
Yeah, same with me and my bullies. I think that's good. What I've noted is I used to dwell a lot on people that didn't like me. I've never been huge on not liking people, but I have been obsessive over people who don't like me. And it's not like a need to be liked. It's just when I know somebody hates me, it's not something that I can let go of easily. And so I obsess over it. And social media has made that a lot worse, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because like I'm not sitting there looking at this person's social media going, oh, I wish they liked me. You know, it's more of like, they don't like me. This person doesn't like me. That is crazy. And then I just obsess over it. But I found that I think that, at least for me, is largely indicative of me not having like a sense of purpose or having enough going on in my own life to you know, like when they say ghetto life, they actually mean it. Like, you know, like before we started the podcast and before I had like a job and everything like that, I would just obsess over these things. And it really mattered to me. And now it doesn't matter at all. And I think, I don't know, I think a lot of like stuff we perceive about other people and the way we feel about other people and the way we worry about what other people think, I think it's a lot easier to deal with when you're busier dealing with yourself, because I don't know. It's hard to explain because I'm just like experiencing now in the past few years, like 3 years.
Sure.
I'm experiencing that. But now, like, if somebody doesn't like me, it's fine. It's
That's
fine.
good because you're kind of in the public eye, so it would be really horrible if you were caught up with that.
Excuse me, don't you like me? I'm delightful. Fuck you.
Why
by
don't
the way.
boys like me?
Why don't guys like me? They don't deserve you. I know. Oh my god.
Did the Debbies have like, if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best types of things on their lockers and shit?
Of course. They all went through this phase where they wore like Abercrombie and Fitch, like little tiny sweaters, and then they all wore sweatpants, but they'd roll down the tops of them so it like lay on their, so it would give them kind of like a belly top, like a crop top kind of look. They all had these white shoes with pink stripes on them, and they all went through this phase of like having top knots with like sweatbands around their heads. I don't know. It was weird, but they all just looked like that.
Sweatbands above the, just
like around their heads, around their heads, and then like a top knot, like a bun.
Oh, a top knot.
It looked like an Easter egg with a bow or something. I don't know.
I remember both of those phases. I remember seeing those phases around and just thinking it strange.
But I remember
asked a girl once why she rolled her sweatpants like that.
Why?
She said that it was the elastic that leaves like a mark on you or hurts. I think she said it hurt. So she rolled it so that the elastic wasn't
I doubt it.
on there. Yeah, I don't know.
One of them did it. I remember there's one girl in particular named Natalie, and she was very abrasive. She did not like me. And so I had this teacher in grade 10. His name was Mr. Russell. He was the coolest motherfucker. This dude, he taught science. He had a degree in zoology. He had been all over the world. He had a pet ferret.
Awesome.
Like, he had so many stories. And he liked me because he knew that I gave a shit about nature, you know? Like one day, so my high school that I went to, my elementary school was attached to a pool. My high school was right next to a river, like right next to it.
Damn.
So we would often do like cool science lessons outside where we'd like learn about ecosystems and shit like that. But that also meant that we also had a lot of wildlife around the school. So I was upstairs on the 3rd floor for math class, and I noticed this like giant fucking bug on my backpack. So I picked up my backpack and I ran down to the 2nd floor and I ran into Mr. Russell's room, as I often did. And I was like, Mr. Russell, what is this bug? And he's like, that is a stink bug. And I'm like, cool.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like poking at it. And he's like, don't do that. But where was I going?
It's got a name like stink bug for a reason.
But that's how I learned. And so it was clear that I was his favorite, or at least one of his favorites. And he was just one of those cool teachers who would like sort of acknowledge the way of things, you know, like how some teachers just try to pretend like there's no hierarchies, there's no cliques, there's no like divide between students, like everybody's the same. It's like, nah, that's not what's going on. And so he would obviously favor kids over others. And so one day in school, I'm sitting in Mr. Russell's class with my friends, and we're learning about something. And you know when like you shake your leg because you've got like excess caffeine or some shit, or you're just doing it because you're bored?
I've been doing that like most of this stream.
So I'm you know, I'm shaking all over. And Natalie, she puts her hand up and she's like, Mr. Russell, Jessica won't stop shaking her leg and it's really annoying. He turns around, grabs a piece of chalk, fucking whips it right past her head, and it explodes on the wall behind her. And he goes, shut the hell up, Natalie. And I'm like,
go teach.
I know. It was fucking amazing.
That's
it was
awesome.
Incredible. And then a few days later, he brought in his ferret. Like, come on.
Damn, it got better.
Yeah.
Then he brought a fucking ferret.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet. I had a knack for like getting on teachers' good sides. Probably because I wasn't a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I remember
like you were really your own person, and I bet they respected that.
Maybe. I mean, some teachers really didn't like me, but most of them
Sure.
did.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite teacher was my English teacher, Mr. Winter. It was his first year.
Well.
Really? Was he nice?
Yeah. Yeah, he was plenty nice, and that's like I'll come back to that.
Okay. Well, he started at my high school the same year I entered the high school, so we were both new. And I really loved English, and I was a really good student. And so we became friends. We're still friends. And I remember the one time I ever got detention in high school, it was because my band, the Chad Band, had played the Chad Band. We played during lunchtime in the cafeteria. And since we played during lunchtime, we didn't eat lunch. So I skipped my next period to eat lunch with my band. And I didn't get like a pink slip for it or anything like that. So teacher's like, all right, can you explain your absence? And I was like, I was eating lunch. And she's like, do you have a pink slip? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, you got detention. I'm like, all right. So I go to detention and I'm just sitting there, and Mr. Winter walks by and he looks in the thing and he keeps walking, and then he slowly backs up and does a double take and looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like, so he comes in the room and he goes up to the teacher on duty and he's like, I need to see Jessica. She needs to do some work. She didn't finish some stuff or something. And the teacher's like, oh, okay. So she's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I get my shit and I take it into the hallway, and I'm like, hey, did I forget something? And he's like, no, just go. And I'm like,
nice.
What? He's like, no, just go. I'm like,
the broest of the bros.
Yeah, he was fucking sweet. So
that's awesome.
That was a good high school memory.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. That was Mr. Winter?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch? Because that guy is awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. My Mr. Winter was new to the school. I was in 7th grade. He started teaching 8th grade halfway through my 7th grade year. And that stunk because the 8th grade teacher before him was totally awesome, and we were all really excited to be in that guy's class. You know how there's some of those teachers they have a reputation for being fucking awesome, and so you can't wait to kind of move on to that guy retired right before us. No. So it was a half year where the other guy took over, Mr. Winter, and he was a totally normal, nice guy, kind of dorky, but absolutely nothing wrong with him at all. And we just destroyed this poor man. We were just horrible to him. We just picked on him and made fun of him, and it was just bad. That was honestly, so here's where we come full circle. This is the beginning of my bullying phase.
You were a bully?
Yes, and I didn't realize that until now when you brought up until you brought up Mr. Winter. I was really, really rude to him and to a couple of my teachers in high school. I was a big fucking bully in high school, not so much to other students, hardly at all to other students. There were a few instances where I was that I did pick on people, and that this doesn't make it better, but I did come back to a bunch of them in adult life and apologize for that, even though I'm not sure if it was I don't know if it was a big deal for them or not, but it was this one kid that we called him Pussyface. I mean, it was an all-male boarding school, so much worse things were. Yeah, much worse things were said. I'm sure, but that's a horrible thing to be called. That's not very nice. So when I saw him later, I was like, "Hey, man, sorry for that. That was pretty lame."
Wow.
And then there was a couple of those, but I hope they were lesser than But it was the teachers that I was kind of worse about, and the reason that I think that I developed that sort of thing was that it was really popular with my peers.
Sure.
So if I made fun of a teacher, I got a lot of laughs. And if I did something outlandish behind a teacher's back, everybody thought that was really cool. And
right.
So I don't know, I definitely took too much of that on and did too much of that. And I took that straight to high school with me. I was fairly popular right away in high school from just mostly from just picking on teachers behind their backs and doing stupid shit.
I could never do.
I was pretty bad. Yeah, I was pretty horrible.
That only ever happened. I've only ever been a part of that once. It was in grade 6, and we had a new French teacher, Madame Louis. And I don't know, it was just, we had 2 French teachers. Madame Moore was the one I had for 10 years, but then Madame Louis came in to help out, I guess. And there's just something about her. I think she was like a new teacher or something, because like kids could smell the newness, you know?
The blood was in the water.
Yeah. And it just became I'm not trying to like justify kids being shitty to teachers, but some teachers definitely handle it better than others. And I think it's when the teacher starts getting super emotionally upset rather than just pissed off, then the kids, you know, get kind of egged on by that. I have no idea. Yeah. But we do this thing. I forget what it was called, but all the kids in the class, we'd all just like, it'd be quiet. And then we'd all like look at each other. And then we would all start going, you know, like a car. And it would just keep revving up, and we'd all just join in, you know, like it, she couldn't blame anybody because we'd all just start doing it at once, and we, you know, rev up, like, you know, and then when she would turn around to yell at us, we would all go, you know.
So you were part of a collective.
Yes, I got caught up in that. Yes, absolutely.
That's fairly innocent.
I still feel bad about it. I feel bad about that though. That's bullshit.
There's one teacher. So there's a couple teachers where I was mean to them and I feel bad about that. But there were some other teachers who were straight up assholes, and I do not feel bad to this day for being a dick right back to them. There was one guy who like was waiting and begging for me to do something wrong so he could like be the one to catch me or whatever. That guy was a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
he did catch me up at one point, and like it was something I can't even remember what I did, but he like relished way too hard, like yelling at me about it, and then he got in trouble because he took it too far. Bitch. That felt pretty justifying.
I feel like, I don't know, even just I don't really think about it, I guess, but now that we're talking about this, and I'm thinking about how the bullies all but spared me, I guess, and how I never really had any really bad teachers, and I was never really a bully myself. Like, I think I was very lucky, and I'm glad that I'm realizing this now. I think I was very lucky. I was super fucked up throughout most of my elementary and high school careers, just because I had really bad anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder. So a lot of my time was spent trying to deal with that rather than, you know, learning or socializing or whatever. And it wasn't until later on in high school that all kind of started to even out for me a little bit. And I don't know, I don't want to say like I was probably an easy kid to deal with, but I probably had a lot of weird shit going on, especially in elementary school. So I think I feel super lucky now that I'm thinking about it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
So that's good shit.
I mean, when you grow up with the same group of people, you know, from the same small town, like that could go a lot of different ways, and whatever ways that it goes, it can go pretty hard. Like when I moved. When I moved from New York, the next place we moved to was a small town in Wisconsin, and the cliques, like, so the great thing about that was it was for 8th grade. I forget. I think I have some of my years mixed up from like the previous story, but like this was middle of 7th grade into 8th grade, and that was in a small Catholic school in this small town, and the whole class were like best friends, like the whole class. And there were only like 15, 20 kids in there, so it was a pretty small class, but still, like, everybody liked each other. I shouldn't say they were all best friends, there were cliques within that, but pretty much everybody got along. There was no bully in that group. All of the guys hung out together and played football at lunch, kind of thing, like playground football, you know, that sort of thing. All the girls hung out, and more so in cliques on that way, but not in ways that they hated each other or anything like that. It wasn't until everybody went to high school where shit went down. And like, that's actually why I went away to the boarding school high school, because that high school had a pretty bad reputation in the state for like teen pregnancies and drug use.
Yikes.
So as you can imagine, shit kind of went down with a lot of those people afterward, which is unfortunate. So there's a lot of different ways that it could go, you know, and like that was also a small town situation where it was also surrounded by other small towns. So they were like, oh, the so and so's from, you know, this area, they're probably a bitch kind of thing, you know, like there were these like little rivalries between towns and whatever. But you know, one of those other towns was also like a much nicer town to have been from versus the one that I was in. So like some of it is just like what's going on in the town. Some of it's like the crop of personalities that you end up with in that cycle of your life. And, you know, those things matter. But I would say I got pretty lucky too. Like I don't have that many stories, you know?
Neither did I. I thought I would have more, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have a few more, but I wouldn't say that they're like so entertaining that it's important that I get to them or whatever, because it's just like there were instances of like I had another one from the private school. His name was Ed, and it was bad enough that like I reported it to the principal and I reported it to my parents, and like there was like a thing where like he was bad enough about things. And then the school, to their credit, did enough to make us hang out together that we ended up being not cool, but okay.
Whoa. That's just like the plot from Parent Trap, except you guys weren't separated at birth.
Right, and neither one of us was Lindsay Lohan. Or Patty Duke.
What?
Wasn't Patty Duke the first one?
Nah, that wasn't her name. I don't remember her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't know. This was interesting to talk about.
Yeah, it was.
Not as interesting as I thought. Didn't really have anything to do with dicks.
So it's automatically not as interesting because it didn't have anything to do with dicks?
Yeah. I was talking at work with my coworkers and I was like, we've already covered ghost dicks and alien dicks. So what's next? You know, I was thinking like animal dicks. I don't think we've covered that. If you guys want to see something fucked up, the duck has the longest penis of any animal in relation to its body size.
I appreciate that you brought it back around to the important things here at the end of the show.
I just want you guys to know there's a picture of a duck.
Did you learn that from Mr. Winter?
No. Okay. That's my own studying. That's my own private time studying. But
that sounds horrible.
Picture of a duck. He is dead, but he's like, it's all out, and it's like corkscrew. It's interesting.
Oh my god!
Also, the cat penis,
like a medieval cat torture,
and the chimpanzee penis have barbs on them.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, fucking sucks to be a chimpanzee or a cat if you're Seriously? A chick. Also, the bed bug penetrates the female like through her fucking abdomen. Like there's no opening. It just like, you know, like fucking impales her with that bed bug D, you know?
You
gotta want it. You gotta want it.
Bed bug D.
Bed bug D. You gotta fucking want that shit because that's gonna hurt. Like fuck. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway. Hey everybody. So yeah, so I think that's the show.
Thanks for putting some dicks in chat, guys.
Thank you for the chat.
Oh, that was Techie. Thanks, Techie.
Thanks, Techie. Always looking out for us. But yeah, so thank you for hanging out. This is now Friday Nights with Distant Thorn, no longer the LBS. LB Lagging Balls proper will be out sometime like on Monday or Sunday or something like that. And that is about Blizzard games and also dicks. But yeah. Nothing else, probably. Well, early 90s, mid 90s, terrible music.
We tend to talk about a lot of that, don't we?
We do.
Oh, well.
I don't know what happened. I don't fucking know. I literally have no idea what the fuck is happening anymore with anything that I do.
I do know that Michael Bolton is behind you.
We don't talk about that. But yeah, all right. So, thank you guys for watching. We hope you have an excellent weekend. Thank you for spending your Friday night with us. And I think we should throw it to my friend Howard. I think he's playing Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Should we say corkscrew when we get there? What should we say?
Yes. No, because that won't make sense.
Let's just write sense when you.
Let's write ghost stick.
Ghost dick.
Ghost stick. Or something. Ghost stick.
All right, here we go. Everyone say ghost dick.
Thanks
for coming, guys. Have a great night.
Have a great weekend. We love you. Inappropriately.
Bye.